Hello, everyone, and welcome to the official SWGT YouTube channel. My name is Sarusa. Today, we're going to take a look at SWGT Update 6.18.0, which has updates to Speed Ticket Calculator, recent artifacts, and more. And so let's dive in. The first update line takes us over to the account summary. And if we scroll all the way down to the artifact scorecard area, I have just gone through and made some tweaks to the performance handling on how lines with a zero quantity are handled. So nothing really to write home about, but just wanted, of course, to make mention. Another update today takes us back to the homepage because there's really not a whole lot to talk about or show. A few months ago, I did go through and make a request to come to us that they add in the server ID. So that way I can better detect and better catalog and archive all of the data by server. And they were nice enough to add that for me. But I did get a message from my rep at about 1 a.m., about a minute or two before the latest update happened. And they said that they had changed the variable name. So I had scrambled as soon as I had woken up to make all those changes. All the changes are done, so everything should be still flowing as normal. There may be a couple hiccups where the server ID would of course come in as 0, but as long as people are syncing properly, it really shouldn't matter. The next update line takes us over to the account analytics area under the recent artifacts. And so one of the things I added in a few updates ago is I did add this green icon. And so when I'm farming, as I am dropping artifacts, I can see whether they match my criteria that I am looking for artifacts. And so that was a great update. But as I have been farming personally, I have been wondering to myself, well, what lines do they match? And so I always have to go back and forth in between those two features. And so in this update, I have gone through and added a hover now. So when you hover over the green icon, it'll actually show you where these match as far as my criteria, how many quantity are required based on your settings, and then how many quantity do you actually have. And so you can see for this one, for example, so this artifact has a skill 1 accuracy. I am looking for one of them, and I currently have 4. So this would be something that I'll have to definitely think about as I am keeping this artifact. Is this the most efficient? Where does it line up? Who is this actually best for? I might of course want to keep it still, but not specifically an upgrade for myself immediately. And so as we scroll on down, there are a couple of examples that I had during testing. I'm going to try and find it here. And so here you can see that I am looking for 2 of these, and I currently only have 1. And I'm going to look for another example where there are multiple line matches. And this one right here, you can see that there are multiple line matches for this one. So this artifact will check off the boxes on both of these requirements. So you'll see that I'm looking for a artifact with an attack main stat with light -22 or better. I currently have 2 of them, but for all of my artifacts, I am looking for 5, and I currently have 2. If we move over to this artifact over here, on this one, I am looking for an attack artifact that has a crit damage of greater than 22, but I'm also looking for artifacts that have a skill 2 plus a first attack of greater than 26. So really a nice tool to be using while you're farming. Again, you'll need to be using the SWGT personal logger while you're playing and while you are farming, of course. Otherwise, there's no real way to get data out of the game. And last but certainly not least, the last update line takes us over to the speed tick backup calculator. And so I had a support case come in, and somebody had said, I'm trying to speed tune this team, and when I load this in production, the enemy Adriana is cutting my Sonya. And so somebody had also replied back to that same person and said, hey, why don't you just add one more speed up effect on Sonya's artifact? That got me thinking. As far as updates to the speed backup calculator here, I have gone through and added a +1, -1 to the artifact speed buff. So that way it's easy to add and subtract as needed without having to go back to the monster, change this number, and then go back. So just a small little quality of life update there. But what was interesting to find out is that this actually maths out. And so I have been playing with the math, and I've been of course, testing with a bunch of G3 players. And what we have found is that the artifact speed buff bonus that is being added onto artifacts onto the speed modifier itself is actually rounding down, which is interesting. I was using the pure number, which is why when you had 13, it would show that it was perfectly tuned. But ComToUs does appear to be rounding down for speed modifier. So for instance, if I add 13% onto 30%, I'm getting 33.9%. And so that's actually being treated as 33%. And if I go up to 14, it goes up to 34% because it's actually 34.2. So this is interesting. It's definitely an interesting find. I have gone through and made the changes to the calculator to match that as well. Another interesting case is I did change out Sonia for Dark Monkey, and Dark Monkey is 1 speed slower than Sonia. And when I put on 13% speed up effect, he definitely gets cut. And actually, even though he's 1 speed slower, even with a speed lead, even with a speed buff, it actually comes out that he actually needs 20% in order to be properly speed tuned. So it's a pretty crazy find. Unfortunately, we don't have the actual specific math from CompToUs for all of these. And so a lot of this is just testing and tweaking and trying to find out all of the various different numbers. But it's interesting that they would choose to round down. I don't know if in the game they're handling the speed modifier as an integer, and so it's just getting cut as far as the actual number. So again, back to that example, if it's 33.9, it just lops off that 9, and then it's used as 33. I don't know if they are specifically rounding down. We've tried a lot of different ways to make this all work. We've tried rounding the actual ticks themselves. That didn't make the change. I have gone through all of the different math segments to see if there was possibly a bug in there. And the only way to make the math work to match how it works in game was to round down this speed modifier. So weird finding, but definitely have gone through and made the change. Again, a big thank you out to the community, of course, for helping me go through and test all these crazy use cases. And thank you for, of course, reporting it on Discord. And that's it for today. I just wanted to say a thank you to all the Patreon members who subscribe to SWGT and to all the people that constantly give feedback about the platform. It's only through your support and efforts that SWGT is what it is today. And I've said it before and I'll say it again. We all make SWGT better together. And with that, don't forget to smash those like buttons, and I'll see all of you on the battlefield.